Lots going on. I thought about, of course, conversations taking place this week, and decided that my promise to you would be that we would talk about home is where the heart is. And of course, there's some obvious reasons for that. One being that we have chosen a new place to call home right now for this center. And that's actually been an emerging conversation, because as with all things, in the beginning, with a big splash at the beginning of the school year and all kinds of marketing and hoopla, everybody comes running to check out this new thing. And what is very natural is that they then go back to what their routines have been. And we continue to grow and to develop, and they come back periodically and check us out and see what's going on. So we know that's a very natural process. Just like when a baby learns to walk, we think it's so cute how they get up and fall down, and get up and fall down, get up and fall down, and it's so cute they take their first steps across the room, and these days we post those pictures on Facebook and we tell the whole world. We are in the experience of the beautiful infancy of this idea, this thing that we're calling the Center for Spiritual Living in Palm Beaches. And just like at the beginning of any new life, we laugh and we smile and we take pictures and we applaud and we share it with our friends every time our new baby falls down and gets back up again. Every time a new step is taken and the first word is learned and every bit of progress is made, we celebrate. So that's all natural. And one of the things that we recognized when we were in the Dwight D. Eisenhower Elementary School is that giant auditorium that's fit for 250 is great for when we're that big. It is great for when we have a Posse-Palooza concert. It is great for when we have a big guest speaker come into town, or when we decide to have a festival or a fair. And in the meantime, it's like giving the baby a room that's just a little too big. You know, there was just kind of an echo there. So we started this thing called the Shoulder to Shoulder and Heart to Heart campaign. We began conversations during and after celebration, and between them, we did visioning. We deepened our meditation. We did prayer work. And we identified these qualities of home that were calling to us. How could we be shoulder to shoulder? How could we be more heart to heart? Where could we gather and connect with each other in a space where we wouldn't get lost, where we could coalesce and grow this idea together of this spiritual community naturally? And so we kept putting it out there. Some of us were participating in something that Frida told me about, the Deepak Chopra 21-day meditation challenge. And others were involved in their regular practice. And again, these visioning processes that we did afterwards and so on. And this list of qualities and characteristics emerged. So we have the list over here. And time is moving forward. And we're going from our beginning into, I think last week was our 10th week, I'm pretty sure. And we're starting to look at the holidays. We're starting to look at Birth 2012. We're starting to look at a particularly significant, possibly, winter solstice. We're starting to look at possibly a particularly significant change of years. Then again, aren't they all? But we've decided collectively to get ready for something maybe bigger than before unfolding. And so that's all in our line of sight. And meanwhile, those of us who are exploring this idea of who we are, why we're here, what we're about, what we're here to do and be and share and experience together are still cooking this idea. We're still doing that. And I find that one of the best things to do is to find a way, a spiritual practice of some sort. It could be meditation, it could be scrubbing the bathtub, by the way, or gardening, whatever it is, some type of letting go after all of that contemplation. Letting go and trusting and allowing what is, to bubble up, to show up, to emerge in front of us. And so, like so many other weeks, that's what this past week has been about. And last Sunday evening, part of that emergence was this sense that we were ready. A sense that we were ready to claim some of those things that we had been imagining and dreaming of and desiring. And so I sent out this correspondence to all the people on our leadership council, and I asked if they would be willing to take that into meditation, into prayer, into their heart of hearts, and ask if it isn't time to choose that spot. And so 2 days of contemplation and sharing emerged, and more going out there and more looking and more evaluating what had come to pass and what was emerging and what was falling away and how it matched our best sense of what we had been desiring. And in the end, I think very late Tuesday evening, the reflections were all in, and what happens is that as a spiritual community, we agree to do things in a way that is very organic and inclusive and sometimes down and dirty, but we get all the ideas out, we get all the possibilities out. We promise not to collapse the wave too soon. We promise to explore every possibility, and then we come to our best understanding of a coalescence, of an agreement. It's very multifaceted. If you've ever heard about the holographic theory, it's this idea that when a group of people comes together, they create something that is multifaceted, that includes and involves a little bit of each one of them. And so we make this third thing. We make this thing that is a multifaceted idea, a life, a picture, a presence that's a little bit of all of us. And that's what we did in making this choice to move, and to move here is to be in a place that offers as many of those qualities as possible for us, from which to grow together. And that's how we ended up here. The funny thing is that I had to take my notes to this slippery podium, by the way. This is the big half of this page, okay? These are all the qualities and characteristics in our visioning, in our prayer work, in our dialoguing, in everything that we recorded from everyone in this community that mattered to us. And that's how many, on the big side of this page, have already come to pass. And there are others that are on the horizon. They are our dream boards. They are the plans that we make. They are the things that we dream of and reach for and plan for and set as goals and go out and manifest. But I just wanted to share how beautiful these confirmations are. We have these words again from everybody in our community. Outside the sanctuary, there is a community room. A warm, welcoming, visible space. There is a room with its own feeling, a living room feeling, with texture and warm color, soft seats. Even a bookstore or book swap. By the way, there is one right out there by the elevator. A hangout place, a safe place in the community with closeness and warmth, radiance, flexibility. It is embracing and kind. And by the way, the people here have been all that when we approach them again. It is peaceful. It is available days and nights. It has a cost that works, and the freedom of use is great. There's plenty of parking, if you haven't noticed. There is a sense of the sacred, of beauty, of sanctuary, the ability to personalize, a sense of home, a more simple setting, so that celebration can take place with ease. It feels more contained, but not too closed. It is easy to find. It welcomes us. It is a win-win with a sitting area and couches. I'm not kidding. Freedom, time, choices. Open, now, yes, oh yeah. All filled with happy people. And I just love that when we are willing to trust Spirit and go into meditation, go into conversation, ask a question, there's always an answer. There's always an answer. So the way that answer really showed up for me this week was the morning after we made this choice together. And it was Wednesday morning, about 10:30. I was with one of my day job clients. And I was with her dog, actually. Her dog and I were outside. And I had been thinking of this idea that we teach here at Centers for Spiritual Living about the personalness of spirit. How spirit isn't just the stuff that we've enjoyed thinking about lately, about the mathematical and exact correspondence of the universe to our every thought and desire. Not just the mechanical responsiveness of this law of cause and effect. Oh, we took a lot of time to look at that because we wanted to step away from anthropomorphizing a God that we thought was outside of ourselves and get into a different understanding of the responsiveness of the universe and our part in creation. And so we've done a lot of delving into the molecules of emotion and the biology of belief and the quantum physics of it all. And still, there is something within each of us that desires to have a personal connection, to have a special relationship with that power, to be able to go to it, and you'll always hear me speak in gender-neutral terms, to go to it in times of worry or doubt, of unsurety, in times of imagination or longing, and to have that thing respond to us in some way. And it does. It does in a very personal way. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, coined the phrase, the personalness of spirit. And of course, your spell check will say that's not a word, but it is in our book. And what he describes in all of his writing is how that power reaches back to us. How it does. Now, as the other things that I've described in the past, it's according to our belief. It's always within the context of our freedom to choose what we think about, what our vocabulary is, where we operate, what means something to us. And one of those things for me is that when I have a special moment, a moment of choice, a turning point, a significant time in my life, I get this confirmation in the form of an X in the sky. I'll tell you some examples of that. I had a Center for Spiritual Living in North Carolina for 5 years, and the first time that we went out on the big terrace and circled up and prayed our way out, after, I think it was right before a potluck or something, looked up in the sky and there was this big X. I remember going to the Sierra Nevadas for a Center for Spiritual Living retreat. And I was making a big decision about our joining an organization and being part of something greater. And I looked up and there was that X. I remember some years back, I went to a job interview at Australian Docks in Palm Beach. And as I walked down the dock and looked up where I was supposed to step up and step in and show them who I was and what I wanted to do, and my resume under my arm, I looked up and there was this big X. And I got that job. I sat down with that family and they said, you know, we come from humble beginnings. And that's how it went. It was a beautiful time that brought me to Fort Myers. It brought me to meeting Rick. It brought me to getting back into the ministry. It brought me everywhere I needed to be. So what happened on Wednesday morning after we made this choice to move this center for its next chapter of living and being and cultivating and growing to where we are this morning was that I looked up and I saw this big X in the sky. For me, what that is spirit reaching back to me. saying your meditation isn't for naught. Your affirmations aren't for naught. Your prayers are heard. Your desires are responded to. Even your greatest dreams and your longings are responded to by a loving presence in a way that you can see and hear. So I just felt like we're in the right place. We're doing the right thing. This idea is greater than what we can see right now. It is just as it should be. And it will continue to grow. It's very comforting, and I only had the dog to tell until now. So thank you for that. Perhaps you've had one of those moments where you've been driving down the highway. You know those significant moments, you're usually alone at those times. Perhaps you're moving. Perhaps you're making a big life change, starting a business, a new relationship, a new job, making a big decision. And you might be even in the car with all of your stuff, and maybe you've got your cats or whatever the case may be. But there's something significant going on. And a truck drives by, and what does it say? It says like Godspeed or go for it. Or a car goes by and the license plate says, yes, you can. You know those moments. And there's really nobody to tell, but you have to laugh because it feels like someone has said, I hear you. I hear you. So, in addition to all of the fun that we have proving ancient spiritual wisdom with modern science, we also have the opportunity in our own lives to recognize that there is a personalness about it, which will never go away. That personalness, that responsiveness, is the way that the stuff of everything responds to what we're thinking, to what we're feeling. It's the way that everything responds to the words we speak and the choices we make. It is, I was talking last week about how it is done unto us as we believe. That's where the as happens. And that's where the doing and the experience unfolds. I'll just give you a short scenario here. What happens on the personal level when we have a thought? And you can say, well, yes, Abraham said that. Or yes, name your person. Great Bruce Lipton. Candace, what's her last name? Pert. I knew that. Ian would remember that for me. We all got to see it so beautifully portrayed in What the Bleep Do We Know? And so many others, The Secret. When we have a thought, and we hold it for more than 15, 16 seconds, depending on who you ask, something happens. A feeling follows that thought. And when we have a thought that's followed by a feeling, it's not long before an emotion wells up. Energy is now in motion. And what happens then is all kinds of responses in our bodies. Chemical responses, engaging, involving responses within our bodies. At the same time, what's happening when we think a thought is that every idea like it is sort of Googled in the universe. It's like we have a search engine up here. And when we have a feeling, every feeling like it kind of rushes toward that feeling. When we have an emotion, have you noticed? Everyone who's in the same mood seems to appear. And everyone who's in a different mood, they smartly go somewhere else. You start to have a real personal experience of the law of attraction when you get to the emotional phase. And then things start to happen. Because not only are there biochemical reactions and responses, very personal ones, going on within your body, they are happening in the body of your affairs at the same time. This is the intricacy of how connected we really are. So, there are two ways that this can go. One is that we are aware of what we're thinking. We are aware of the feelings that we're entertaining. And we are aware of the emotions that are gaining momentum, the energy that is in motion for us. We are aware of the vortex of attraction that we are allowing to be created. And what's showing up is a perfect match for that, and it's all good. And then there's the fact that all of this continues to take place even when we're not. The fact is that even when we're not realizing that we're thinking something, even when we're not realizing that we're feeling something, that we're building up a certain emotional pattern, that we're triggering things in our bodies, and we're triggering things to begin showing up in physicality, we still are. So that's that moment, that as moment. It is done unto us as we believe. That moment when we are either creating consciously or otherwise, it never stops. So the best thing to do is to be aware that this is happening and to do it on purpose and to let that personalness of spirit respond to our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our words, our actions, and bring us good effortlessly. Each time that happens, a life is created. That life has the law of growth active in it, and it calls to it everything that it requires to be made fully manifest. So if we want something to be fully manifest, we let it go. We let it do the work. If there's something that we desire and it's not happening, and we probably feel really worn out, discouraged, and tired, we can say, well, wait a minute, what have I been thinking? What have I been allowing myself to feel? How have my emotions been with regard to my desire? What am I saying and what am I doing? Perhaps every bit of me is blocking the very thing that I wish to experience. And we can come back here in classes and practice groups and Sundays and sing songs and remember that it's up to us which way that goes. There really is this personal reaching out to us all the time, responding to us in intimate ways all the time. And whether it is nice or otherwise, whether it's pleasant or otherwise, is entirely up to how we direct our thinking and how we therefore direct our feeling, our emotion, our choosing, our speaking, our acting, our cooperating. Anything that is set in motion in the universe remains in motion until it is acted upon by an outside force. So if there's something that we're desiring to experience, we set it in motion. If there's something happening we no longer wish to experience, we interrupt it with a new idea. It's that simple. So you can see that it's not just this precise response, but it is a loving one. And to the degree that we really get how magnificent we are, how loved we are, it can be easy, it can be effortless, it can happen overnight. We can have quantum leaps be our everyday experience. We can give up hard. We can give up struggle. And we can celebrate life. I invite you to take that in today and consider that as a possibility for you. And I'm going to close us with a prayer, and then we'll sing a song. I know that there is one energy in this universe, one power, one presence, one substance, and one activity. And I know that the truth of who we all are is that we are God in form. Yes, it's true. All this and more, so shall we do. Every master teacher, old and new, has said the same thing. Every aspect of science has proven the same thing. We are magnificent. Our thought is creative. We are free, and the choice is ours. And so I know that as we go out from this place today, we do so empowered and aware, conscious, choosing the greatest and the best, knowing that we are loved, knowing that it is effortless, knowing that love points the way and love makes the way possible. In gratitude for this and all of the delightful ways that it shows up, I give thanks. I release my word. And together as we open our eyes, we say, and so it is.